Hi there, hello. Welcome back to another episode of Hi, how are you? We are back with A to Z of consciousness. Today we are at the letter J and we will be talking about judgments, my favorite topic of all. And why it is my favorite topic is because I find myself working with judgments, getting out of judgments after so long. Okay, somebody says that there is no voice. Am I not audible to anyone? Can you just give me a thumbs up if everybody can hear me? Because someone says that I am not audible at the moment. If somebody can just show me a thumbs up. Hi. All right. So, like I said, we are going to be talking about judgment. And this, okay, someone says, yes, I'm audible. Okay, great. Wonderful. Thanks. So, I'm going to begin now. And we are talking about this energy of judgment, which is this all pervasive energy. Okay, we're surrounded by judgment like we're surrounded by air. It exists around us and we are just so consumed with this energy of judgment. Do you really think that we can be in a reality where judgment doesn't exist? Do you think that is even a possibility? There is no escape from judgment in the world that we live in. We are constantly either judging ourselves or we are judging someone else or someone else is judging us. There is this constant battle of judgment happening at all times and in all places. There is no escape. There is really no escape. So today I want to talk about not only, okay, please guys, stop judging. I'm not going to tell you only that. I will actually tell you how it is possible for us to get out of judgment. I'm going to be sharing with you some amazing tools, some amazing consciousness questions that you can use in your daily life that I use a lot, wherein you can actually start using these things and get out of judgment with ease. So, judgment is the greatest evil that exists in this planet on this planet, and the definition of access consciousness says that access consciousness includes everything. It includes the good, the bad, the ugly, without judging them, without classifying them as good, bad, and ugly. Okay, so judgment, if you see, is the greatest anti consciousness that exists. Judgment is a control mechanism. Why is judgment a control mechanism? Because it keeps us controlled, it keeps us bound, it keeps us in this box wherein we just don't want to come out of that box because we're afraid that we'll be judged. Judgment binds us, it limits us, it solidifies us, it keeps us stagnant. It is the greatest form of control that exists in this reality. So, this is why when we're talking about A to Z of consciousness, I decided to talk about judgment. Also, because, like I said, it's one of the things that I'm constantly working with in my life. I am looking at different ways, different perspectives, different possibilities that will allow me to get out of judgment, allow me to stop being at the effect of judgment. So many times we are consuming so much of energy and effort to not be judged by people, and we're also wronging ourselves. We have so much of shame attached to ourselves when we start judging people. So in order to get done with all of that, I have curated this little talk where I want to tell you and I want to give you ways and means that will let you get out of judgment. So let's see what judgment actually is. Nobody needs a definition, obviously, of what judgment is, but I've classified judgment in three different categories, you can say. So the first category is when we judge ourselves. Judgment begins with us. We are constantly in scrutiny of ourselves. Our day begins with judging ourselves, judging the failures of our lives, judging how bad our relationships are, judging how big a failure we are when it comes to finances, or judging our bodies. We're constantly body shaming. Okay, so judgment is what we are doing at all times with our own selves. And a lot of people think that judgment is good for them. They feel that if I judge myself, that's a way that I can keep myself in check. Judgment is a good way to keep myself at constant analysis. That if I judge myself and if I judge my body, it will tell me, it will give me a good idea of how much I must exercise, how much I must rest, how much I must eat, how hard I must work in order to be successful in life. So a lot of people see success as a very, very good way of analysis. But do you tell me, do we really require judgment in order to keep a check on us? Do we require this intensity of scrutiny and analysis to live a life, a greater life than today? Now, there is a quick tip that I want to share with you, that instead of constantly being in self scrutiny, I want you all to ask this question: how can I out create myself today without having any judgments of me? How can I just out create myself, my finances, my relationships, my health, my body, my level of success, my level of joy, without having to judge me at all times? And please note this question down somewhere, or just memorize it, that you have to always allow yourself to out create you without judging you. Now, when you out create, what happens is you are being present with your current situation. That I'm very, very present and I am acknowledging that my current situation of finances is not very good. And instead of criticizing myself and scrutinizing myself, I will just allow myself to be the energy of out creation. For example, if somebody is really sick and they're battling a disease, the first thing that they will think of, that they'll do, is they'll judge their body. That, oh my god, before I fell sick and before I had this disease, I could run like 5 kilometers every day, and what's happening to my body? That is judgment of body, judgment of your own self. That, oh, I wish I would have taken better care of my body, and see, I have fallen sick. So instead of all of this judgment, what you can do is you can just allow yourself to be sick in that moment. Just in that moment, be present with you and just tell yourself that, okay, I'm sick, and in this moment I'm allowing myself to be sick, but not in the next moment, and not the moment after that, and not the moment after that. How do you do that? You just have to ask this question: okay, how do I get out of the judgment of my body? How do I get out of the judgment of this sickness and then out create myself? I always be willing to out create yourself. When you ask this question of out creation, you are immediately getting out of judgment. And practice this, use this question, remember this word out creation, because out creation does not require you to be to judge yourself as bad or wrong or sick or a failure. Out creation will be, okay, it is what it is, but how can I be better in the next moment, and how can I be better tomorrow? Now, if you take an example of a financial failure, if you've always incurred great losses, and you've never been able to have a great amount of money in your bank account, again, be present with that moment. Get present with the money, the little money that your bank account has. Get present with your losses. Also get present with all of the pending bills. Get present with all of the expenditures that you have in the future, that are upcoming in the future. Get present with that, and then just say that, how can I out create my financial reality? By getting out of the wrongness of myself. I need to stop wronging myself, and now how can I out create my financial reality? Why that is important is because when I meet a lot of people, when we're doing these healing sessions and we're talking about finances and how people are wanting to make money but they can't make money, the first thing they come to is that it's all my fault. I made the wrong investment, or I did this business deal with the wrong person, he turned out to be a fraud, I should have been more careful, it's my fault. Or I did not go to the right college and hence I did not get the right job, and now I don't make the right amount of money. It all comes down to wrongness of yourself, and wrongness is the greatest judgment that you can do to you. Okay, wrongness means that you are wrong, you are bad, and everything that you do will revolve around your one wrongness. So again, I repeat the question: how can I out create my finances? How can I out create my financial situation, my financial reality? By getting out of the wrongness of me. Always release the energy of wrongness, because that is judgment. And when you allow yourself to out create, when you tell the universe that I'm willing to go beyond my wrongness, show me a way that I can out create my finances, You never know, something may just work out. Like you may get the business offer that you were always looking for. You may fall into place at the right time with the right job, and everything may just work out. For that to happen, you need to get out of judgment. For that to show up in your world, you need to get out of the wrongness of you. So every time you are judging yourself, please ask this question: how can I outcreate myself without judging myself, without making myself wrong? Because the job of judgment is to solidify the situation. The job of judgment is to never allow you to change or move or to go further. It will lock you, it will stop you. And when I'm talking about judgment, I also want to bring this up, that we're talking about all negative and positive judgments. Not only the wrongness that we have, not only the things that we think are bad and terrible about us, also the positive judgments that we have. Now, for example, let's take my example. If I say that, oh wow, I'm so cool and I'm facilitating healing sessions for people, and it's all because of me that people are changing and their lives are getting better, their relationships are getting better, they're probably making more money in their lives now. And if I take all of that credit and I do it with a sense of superiority and this intensity of pride, that wow, I am the change maker and I am the one, then that will again be a limitation. Even a good judgment is a limitation. Why? Because I will be like, wow, I'm at such a good place, and I don't want to outcreate now. I'm already at my greatest. So a lot of people, when they believe that they are at their greatest, they stop outcreating, because they want to maintain that level, they want to maintain that standard of greatness. They're so afraid कि इससे ऊपर तो कुछ हो नहीं सकता, क्या पता मैं फेल हो जाऊँ, so I'd rather just stay here. That is also a lie, and that is also how a judgment limits you. So whenever you find greatness is in you, please, every time when I'm saying positive judgments, that does not mean that you stop acknowledging the greatnesses in you. But every time you acknowledge a greatness in you, every time you see that you're doing something wonderful in your life, you're creating good business, you're creating good money, you're creating good relationships and an amazing body, please just have gratitude in that moment. Because gratitude will allow your greatnesses to magnify, to exponentialize, to increase at a growth that you'd be like, oh my god, I was waiting for this, but I did not plant the seed of gratitude. I was rather doing it from a sense of judgment, superiority, pride, arrogance, dominance. I was doing it from there. I wasn't doing it from gratitude. So for all the negative judgments that you find of you, be present, acknowledge it in the moment, and allow yourself to outcreate. Even for the positive judgments that you find in you, allow yourself to outcreate. All of the young entrepreneurs, like, successful entrepreneurs, I don't think they have the time to sit in a sense of pride and, oh my god, I did this, I'm the ruler of the world. They're constantly outcreating. Do you see? Just think of any young entrepreneur who's just excelling at their field of work. Why? Because they are so busy out creating. They don't have time to live in this inferiority, superiority. I'm sure we all have our pangs of judgment, but you see, the out creation, the energy of out creation always exists. And what would our life be? I want to ask all of you here, what would our life be if we are constantly out creating ourselves? What would our life be if we are constantly out creating our level of joy, our level of greatness, our capacities and our capabilities? What would our life be then? And if you're willing to explore that bit, please stay in the question and ask this. The second aspect of judgment is so this was all about when we judge us. The second bit of judgment is when we judge other people. So we are constantly judging other people, we are judging situations, we are judging things, we are putting them in classifications of this is good, this is bad, this is evil, this is right, this is wrong. We're constantly doing that classification of judgment. So what happens is, when we judge people, when we judge things, when we judge situations, we become semi-blind. It's like, somebody putting something, in front of your vision, and you can only see bits and pieces. That is what judgment does to you. It makes you half blind. For example, this amazing dance teacher, and you've always known that he's been a very, very successful dancer, and you want to learn dance from him, but you've had an experience where he spoke to you rudely, or he spoke to you in a way that he kind of was very blunt, and you did not like the way he spoke to you. So now you've made a decision, because of your judgment that he's rude, you don't want to learn dancing from him. You just don't want to learn dancing from him. And even if you want to, even if you enroll for his classes, you will never be able to receive the greatness from him. You will never be able to explore your talent. Why? Because judgment is this evil, sneaky little thing of this reality. For example, I judge somebody for one trait, for one aspect, for one thing that they did wrong, or one thing which is not so good about them. An energetic wall will be created between myself and that person. And then it will be like total blindness. I will stop receiving from that person in totality. That one trait will be magnified and broadcasted to their entire identity, and now I judge the whole person, and now I don't want to receive from that person. So in such a case, if you are judging someone for that one little thing, or for everything that they are, or they do, ask this question: what can I receive from this person if I go beyond judgment? What can I receive from this person if I go beyond judgment? And when it comes to situations, we always judge situations. How many of us are judging COVID right now? How many of us are judging this situation of coronavirus right now? All of us, right? We are absolutely disturbed, pushed into this hellish situation because of COVID. Are you willing to receive the greatness of COVID if you get out of judgment? Yes, you can do that by asking another question, that what can I receive from this COVID situation if I go beyond judgment? Ask yourself this question and let me know. I would love to know if something shows up in your life that you'd be like, wow, this worked out for me thanks to COVID. Abhi COVID situation hai, and this thing is only possible in COVID. It could have not been possible otherwise. So I'm grateful for this. Are you willing to be that beyond judgment? Are you willing to be in that space which is so beyond judgment that you're willing to receive even from this situation of COVID? And if yes, please ask these questions. That I'm willing to go beyond the judgment of this situation, of this COVID situation. And what greatness can I receive now? What greatness can I receive now? And please, for anyone that you judge in your life, a close family member, a friend, a relative, a colleague, anyone, just say that beyond this judgment, if I go beyond this judgment, what can I receive then? Because everyone has the capacity to add value to your life, but your judgments don't let that happen. And like I explained in the previous, when we were judging ourselves, we judge ourselves negatively and positively. Now we also judge people negatively, obviously, all the time, and we also judge people positively, which again becomes a limitation, and I'll tell you how. Now let's take an example of a father, and he is crazy about his daughter. He loves his daughter. He's blinded by the love that he has for his daughter, and he's just so much in awe of his child. And that child, his daughter is playing in front of him, and she is bullying another child. She is being very mean and nasty to another child. The father will not be able to perceive that as bullying. The father will perceive that as, oh, my child is so confident. Oh, she's so brave. And oh, look at her level of smartness. I just love my kid. That man will never be able to perceive the totality of his child because he is so blinded by the judgment of love. When I realized this, I realized it in my own example. When I learned Theta, when I learned to do Theta healing, I would scan my dad, okay? And when I would scan him, I'd be like, wow, dad, you're filled with light, and I did not see any blockages and everything seems cool. And then he'd be like, Aanchal, I've been having this backache. Could you not see anything in my body regarding a backache? I'm like, no. And then again, I would scan him, and then I'd be like, wow, dad, you're filled with light. It looks amazing. I'm so glad. He'd be like, no, I've been feeling very, very low lately. Don't you see anything in my aura? I would only be able to see greatness in him because I was so blinded by judgment that he is the most perfect person that could exist in this world. And I would be like, why is it that my Theta healing is pretty accurate for everyone? Why not my father? Why can't I do it for him? Why can't I add value to him? Because my limitation was my judgment. Your judgment, good or bad, limits you. And this is why today in the talk, I did not only want to talk about the bad judgments we have, because we all know about it, right? We've been taught since we were in school that don't judge and don't get offended by judgment. But what about the good judgments? Even good judgments are limitations. And now when we're talking about consciousness in totality, let's look at everything. So when you judge somebody in a certain way, you can only see that bit about them. So, for example, you're staring at the sky and you see the moon in the night sky. It's this beautiful white plate of light, right? But is that what the moon is in real? No. The moon is not that. The moon doesn't have its own light, and the moon is filled with craters. And that is what judgment does to us. Judgment makes our vision so tinted, so different than what the reality is. It doesn't allow you to see the true picture. Good and bad judgment both have this evil thing of doing that to your vision. It will tint your vision, it will make you half blind. So whenever you are in a situation when you are judging someone in a good way or in a bad way, please ask this question: what can I receive? How much awareness can I receive if I go beyond judgment? What awareness can I receive? And what greatness can I receive when I go beyond judgment? Please ask this question and see what all suddenly you will be aware of. Now, happily, I can scan my dad, and very openly, I can see everything that is maybe a limitation or an imperfection in him, because I'm willing to acknowledge that I want to go beyond this limitation. So allow me to do that. And I want you all to kind of be able to do that for yourself. Any good judgment, any bad judgment for anyone, for any situation, please ask, how can I go beyond judgment and be totally aware now? How can I receive greatnesses from this person by going beyond judgment? These are some questions that you can ask. Now, the third area of judgment is when we are being judged by other people. So up till now, we talked about, how we judge ourselves and we judge other people. So we can obviously put a stop to that by choosing more consciousness. But not everyone is choosing consciousness, are they? So will people stop judging you all of a sudden overnight? Will everyone choose consciousness together? Well, let's see what else is possible. But up till then, till that happens, till everyone chooses consciousness, what do we do about being judged by other people? In this reality, being judged by other people is actually the major danger zone. Why it is the danger zone? Because we put ourselves in a box, okay, and we choose never to come out of that box, because when we know that when we do come out of that box, we'll be judged. Let's talk about the entire LGBTQ community. Why is it called, oh, did he come out of the closet, or did they come out of the closet? Why? Because that, you see that phrase, they are so afraid of coming out of the closet and owning their identities, their genders, their sexual preferences, and they know that the ones that they do come out of the closet, they will be judged for it. Our world is filled with judgmental people. People will never stop judging, and a lot of people want to they want to avoid this judgment. Rather, they don't want to be in a space where they will be judged, so they continue to live a reality of lies. They continue to live a reality of diminishing their true self. And are you doing that? In how many areas are you doing that? I ask all of you. What happens is, we are using, you can say, megatons of energy in order to avoid judgment. We just don't want to be judged. We always think, we begin our day and we start making our decisions, start taking those choices in which we will not be judged. We want to be everything. We want to do everything without being judged. And what happens is, it's literally like living your life in a defense mode. You're constantly defending yourself, protecting yourself from being judged. And in the process of doing that, we forget being our true selves. We just forget being what we're capable of being. We don't end up doing that, because what if we'll be judged in the process? What if somebody calls us evil or wrong or bad or cruel when we are being our true selves? So I want to explain this with an example. Let's take the example of patriarchy, okay? Now, it's the concept that men are superior and men should be placed above women, and women are less and inferior and secondary. And patriarchy starts to define what a woman can do, cannot do, must not do, should do, shouldn't do. So all of these rules are laid out. Now, let's say half of the women, they agree and they align with the concept of patriarchy. they've kind of agreed to it. Okay, it's okay, patriarchy is fine. If I go beyond the rules of patriarchy, then there'll be too much unrest, so I may never do it. So okay, bye. I'll just be my very, very minute self, very, very diminished image of myself, and I'll just live like that. Because yeah, okay, I understand that patriarchy exists and I don't want to be judged. So I'm out of here and I'll be my most limited self. For example, if a woman has a very good business idea and she knows it has the capacity to make a few $1 billion, what if she goes and she discusses with her husband that, okay, I have this idea, hear me out, and if I need investment for this new startup, will you be able to help me out? And the husband says, oh my god, don't talk about money matters with me, this is not your business. Your business is to take care of the household matters, and please just focus on that. And I'm sorry for taking this example. I know a lot of you may say that, oh, that is such backward thinking, Aanchal, who does that anymore? Let me tell you, a lot of people are living in the rules of patriarchy, and even in modern cities, even in the tier 1 cities, it is happening in the most forward households, that women are not allowed to dream big, talk about money, talk about businesses, talk about creating their own realities. So in one case, the woman be like, okay, fine, I'll agree to this point of view of patriarchy, I'll agree to this judgment, and okay, fine, I'll never talk about this again. So okay, my conversation is over, and I will never ever think of being a entrepreneur again, say for example. And the second example, the second half of the women, like the other half, would be resisting and reacting to this judgment, that how dare you say that I can't start this business, how dare you say that I can't talk about investment, how dare you say that my business plan cannot be worked out. So she may start fighting with her husband and dismissing his opinion, and all of that drama will happen. So this is what we have always known, that when a judgment is thrown at us, either we agree and align to make peace, or we resist and react, which creates a fight. Now tell me, have you ever gone beyond these two options? Can anybody think of a third possibility here? Has it ever occurred to you that there could be a third way that could liberate us? Okay, so I would like to share the third thing. The third option here is that, for example, the same husband, now he says, when he says no to the business plan, the woman, instead of agreeing and shutting down her thoughts on her business, or fighting with her husband, the third thing that she can do is, okay, so what awareness is lying beneath this judgment? That's the question that woman will ask. What is the awareness behind and beneath this judgment? What awareness can I tap into with this judgment? Okay, and when she asks that question, she may get a set of awarenesses, that maybe her husband is insecure, that she may become too successful, or her husband is very, very fearful that his wife may not be at home very much, and now she'll have to move out of the house and create her business and everything. Or maybe it's the husband's programming and conditioning, that women of the house should not create businesses, they should handle the house, because he's seen his mother do that, he's seen his grandmother do that. So everything comes down to an awareness. She will start acknowledging all the insecurities, fears, and everything that her husband is operating from. And when she gets to do that, when she is in a state of awareness, she will always take the right decision for herself. Neither will she agree and align, give up her business idea. Neither will she resist and react and fight with her husband. What she'll do is, when she has that set of awarenesses, she'll know what she'll have to do. And whatever she'll do will be something which is beyond judgment. So every judgment has the capacity to give you awareness. Would you like to receive that? Would you like to, instead of getting stuck in the judgment that, oh, how pathetic is my husband for thinking in such a shallow way, he's just dismissing the idea of my business plan. Instead of that fight, instead of that drama, if you just ask a question, what is the awareness beneath this judgment that I can tap into right now? When you do that, you will always take the most conscious action for yourself. Whether you choose to carry on the business plan or not, that will be the most conscious action that you can take. Okay? So please, whenever you are being judged for the tiniest of things or the biggest of things, please ask this question. Okay, so whoever's throwing judgment at you, just say, okay, so what's the awareness here? What's the awareness beneath this judgment? Is it coming out of a space of fear, insecurity, conditioning? Or what is it? And when you do that, you're setting yourself free. You're liberating yourself. You're like this bird that is out of the cage, and now she can choose to do whatever she wants to do. And she'll always take the most conscious, contributing choice and action for herself. Okay? So when I do these talks with you guys, I don't want to just give you information, and I don't want you to just forget that and listen to me and just put it away in a corner. I have given you a lot of questions that you can ask in your daily life. How to deal with self judgment, how to deal with not judging other people, how to deal with when other people judge you. I have given you all of the questions, all of the tools, and I will be posting this entire live talk on the page later, so you guys can catch up with it and write down those questions that I spoke about. And always remember that a judgment is not, if you allow judgment to bind you, it will. If you allow judgment to become so solid and real and true, it will solidify you. It will make your life stagnant. And just this morning, I put up these stories on the page where I wanted people to answer and tell me which areas of their lives have become stagnant. So everybody had this thing that, oh, my body is become stagnant, my health doesn't improvise, or my finances don't improvise. Can you sit down with yourself and see which all in these areas where all of you held judgments, where all of you held judgments, and for everything that shows up for you, just ask a question. All the questions that I gave you. Okay, how can I outcreate myself? What can I receive if I go beyond judgment? And what is the awareness beneath this judgment? When you start doing this amazing question answer round with the universe will facilitate awarenesses to you. You've got to be able to trust the process. You've got to be able to trust the functionality of the universe and go beyond judgment. So this is what I wanted to talk about in the A to Z of consciousness, that if you allow every judgment to give you awareness, awareness will create consciousness and you will be able to create change. And there is no area of your life that will stay stagnant, no area of your life that will feel stuck in one place. No matter how much I try, no matter what I do, I can't make money. Ask yourself, how many judgments of money do you have? Ask yourself, how many judgments of rich people do you have? Ask yourself, do you have a judgment of you that you are not even deserving of money? Ask yourself all of these questions pertaining to money and wealth and finances. In every area of your life, see, are you wronging yourself? Are you buying other people's judgment? What are you doing? When you do that, when you start taking judgment as a source, as a possibility of awareness, you will receive awareness. And judgment will just not be the evil thing anymore in this reality. So please, the change starts with you. Like I always say, please allow yourself to be that change. Allow your life to change by dissolving these judgments and turning them into awarenesses. So I am so glad that you all were here. And if anybody has any questions, I would love to take them for the next few minutes, and then we can move on and see what life has to bring to us when we get beyond judgment. So anybody with any questions? I am also facilitating personal healing sessions since we're anyway in a situation of social distancing. So all the personal sessions happen online via Zoom. So if you want to book a personal session for yourself and see which areas of your life you're kind of not being able to create greater possibilities, we can together work on this. The healing session that I do is not about psychology stuff and all of that counseling stuff or being a mediator. It's just about, okay, let's see what awareness we can work with today, and let's see what are those blockages that we can release so we have more awareness. Let's together go beyond judgment. So it's all about just finding answers everywhere you live in this, oh, I don't know why. It's just like filling those blanks. Let's just fill the blanks together. If you want to be able to choose a session from me, please leave me a message on the page, and I would love to work with you, work together. And somebody says, can you please repeat the questions? So I will be reposting this video, and I will be writing down in the caption of this video all the questions, so you can look into that and repeat those questions, use those tools in your life, and see what shows up for you. And if there is any area of your life that starts to move forward, starts to change into greater possibilities, please drop in a message. I would love to know. And it's great to receive validations from the universe that yes, change is happening. So I would love to know if something shows up for you. So thank you all so much. I will see you next week with another letter. We're at K, yeah. So we'll talk about that next week. I hope to see you all next week for this live chat on A to Z of Consciousness. And if you want to watch any of the previous letters that we have spoken about, all of them are posted on the page. You can go back into the IGTV section and look into what you'd like to listen to and what contributes to your world. Thank you so much. Bye.